Hey, this is Ian McAlister. You are listening to Verbal Shenanigans.
But our shenanigans are cheeky and fun. Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic, which makes them not shenanigans at all, really. Little shenanigans. I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans. Hey, it's the Burlew solo show, 'cause the redhead didn't show. Single voice comedy flow. It's the Burlew solo show. Randomness come about. Burles is here. No great Scott. Entertaining? Not a lot. It's the Burlew solo show. So here is some comedy followed by an epiphany that all you need is really little me. It's the Burlew solo show. Yeah, I still don't have access to those files from Scott, and we're not going to get in trouble with Facebook with that little theme song right here. Facebook, I am not paying you for monetization because of bagpipe music. I refuse. There is no human being in the world that went into bagpipe music in order to make money. I have a normal 9 to 5 job. I make a decent pay. I would bet the world's greatest bagpipe player wishes he made as much as me. Okay. You only use bagpipe music in 2 situations: parades and funerals. I'm not paying for it. Facebook, so deal with it. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you could probably guess here, it's another solo show. Scott is, I would assume, somewhere in New York with his family, showing off his new child and loving life and being a good father. So, he's a prick for that. But I'm not a prick because I'm right here ready to entertain all of you for this week. Uh, as for actually figuring out how to put this audio up and everything, that's going to be another story. And Lord knows I've been on Audacity for the last 30 minutes trying to figure out right wave files and making it in stereo and all that stuff. So it'll at least go up tonight, I think. I mean, Scott gave me the password for Podbean, so it'll go up. And come to think of it, now that I have the power, I can just put up 50 different wave files to get us past 500 and then surpass him on IMDb, and then I will be the true ruler of verbal shenanigans. And as you all may know, the ruler of verbal shenanigans controls anything they want in this world. I mean, if I want the election to go a certain way, I'll just I'll buzz somebody. I'm like, you know what? I'm not sure if I'm leaning right or left yet, so let's go Green Party. I have that power now because it's a solo show. I'm sorry. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Again, this show is Verbal Shenanigans, as I like to call it, a comedy banter podcast where we talk about current events, play games, and have an interesting interview every single week. I'm your only host for this week, Michael Burlew. We're going to have some fun this week, ladies and gentlemen. We got another interesting guest coming on and everything. So just you and I figuring out if we can communicate with a pre-recorded podcast here. So let's see what we can do here, ladies and gentlemen. I will say I had a kind of a tough week with household chores and all. I mean, you get into the real exciting topics tonight here. We're talking lawn mowing here, ladies and gentlemen. Down here in Georgia, the last like 5 weekends, it has been rain, 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 and I've had no time really to cut the lawn in between those rain spells and all. And you're not supposed to cut your lawn when it's wet, but it got to the point where I was noticing it was coming up to long sock levels my grass, and I knew I was running out of time to really use the excuse of the rain. So this past weekend, it was supposed to be sunny. We had some kind of rain shower overnight. I'm like, well, it can't be that bad. I got like a really nice lawnmower from my parents, a riding lawnmower. This is a professional mowing machine. I am sure it can take care of this task. And my entire lawn, I think I had to go over it 4 times to mow the lawn. I mean, for starters, it was so high, the lawnmower is literally like, no, I'm not going to handle this. Up yours, go to a different level. So I had to raise everything. I had to go to the highest level just to do a primary cut, just to turn around and do a secondary cut to get to the right length. And lo and behold, my entire lawn was just full of wet grass patches all over the lawn. I mean, I'm literally talking about balls and balls, wet grass, and I had to literally go out the next day and start kicking grass into the street so I can go back and do a third run through of my lawnmower. I do not understand why we can't figure this out. I need to say that I know that we have lunar stuff that's on Mars, and we send stuff to the deep depths of the ocean, and we have all this technology. It's we can't figure out how to properly cut the lawn when it's wet. And I don't understand how a spinning blade of death can't figure out long weeds and wet grass. Let's rationalize this for 2 seconds here. If you put your hand in your lawnmower, you're cutting off your fingers, you're cutting off your hand, you're cutting off your arm. Yet when you go to the lawnmower and go, hey, you mind cutting this long weed? It's like, screw that. I'm not doing it. What grass? Not my job. I am not tolerating that. And literally, my entire front lawn was just grass wedges all throughout, and just bulks and bulks. And then the sun came out, so they're dry grass patches, and they're apparently going to kill your lawn if you don't get them off. So I spent the morning like literally grabbing and I'm kicking balls into the street of my house just to make it look good, because that's what's very nice, a bunch of dead grass in front of your house. In fact, if anybody wants to know where I live, I'll just give you a little tip for you. If you go onto Google Maps and you look for the street that has a house that looks like it has a bunch of cheetah pets in front of it, that's probably mine right there. So I have literally spent an entire weekend dealing with that. And then last night, around 1:30 in the morning, I go to the bathroom and my toilet handle broke. There is no more frustration in the world when you can't go to sleep than to push down that little handle and it just goes right in a circle. I had to, when I have barely any sleep in my system, pick up the top of my toilet, start digging into the disgusting toilet water just to pick up the plunger to flush it and take care of that. So my entire weekend is just kicking grass and getting hands into toilet water. That's the amazing fun that you have when you're Michael Burlew, ladies and gentlemen. But I did fix my toilet handle on my own. I know you're proud of me. I know Daddy's giving himself a pat on the back right there. One thing I will say, I had to go to Home Depot during my lunch and pick up a toilet handle. I noticed there's different prices for toilet handles. Right? There was 15, 20, $25 ones. I went with the $10 one. I don't think I'm at the status of my life where I can be blasé and say, look at my expensive toilet handle. I don't know who goes for those more expensive toilet handles. Is it something with the brand of toilet that you have that you need this extra special handle configuration out of curiosity? I mean, is it something where it's like, oh, my toilet's from Brazil, I can't get a regular toilet handle? No, no, no. I need something with a chain, a handle. It's almost like you're calling a maid into your office or something. And all. When I flush, it goes ding dong or whatever. But after easy 20 minutes of trying to figure it out because, your boy's a handyman. I finally got my toilet handle all set and I'm all excited. And I guess the moral of today's story is even when you're excited, when you go to the bathroom and you do something epic right there and there's nobody there to high five, which is really sad, you can't take it out on your toilet handle. You just got to wait until you go out of the bathroom and high five your wife and maybe wash your hands before you high five your wife and all. She might appreciate that, but that's just the moral. I mean, when you do amazing things in the toilet, you still got to take a breather and say to yourself, toilet handle, I'm going to treat you gentle, unlike what I did to the bowl. But that was my weekend, everybody. Mr. Handyman and Mr. Solo Podcast doing the business for you tonight. But I did have a good weekend outside of that and all. My wife's not so much, but I'm going to save that conversation when Scott comes back from his holiday and whatever. And all. When he stops being great dad Scotty and all, good for you, buddy. But I will save that story because I think he'll find that interesting and like a back and forth. But I did get to go see Deadpool and Wolverine over last weekend and all. That was really good movie. It's finally a superhero movie that they done right after like 2 years of WTFs everywhere. But it was a little stressor for me because I am a human being when I want to see a movie, especially like a big time movie like these superhero movies. I want to see it opening night because I do not trust the internet for not spoiling it. I don't know what is the best grace period for it. Like, I'm not going to say this happened or that happened in the movie since we're still about a week and a half into it. I'm going to let it stay out there and all, but people just love to put stuff on Instagram, like the news or whatever, the entertainment tonight's. They love to put it up like 4 days after, and I was absolutely petrified that I was going to see something. My wife, she cannot stand going to the movie theater when it's busy, so that's why we don't go opening nights, or especially for big movies. She gets so flustered with the people who can't hold their bladder or anything like that, and every 5 minutes, oh, excuse me, pardon me, excuse me, and it's always during a great scene where they have to do it, and we're like, what the hell happened? I don't know. I had a fat person who had to take a piss get in front of me, so. But I will say this: I'm just very glad that I think by accident, by waiting until Sunday, I think two things I saw accidental spoilers on there. Both of them was somebody in the movie and so forth. It didn't spoil it. What didn't help was they did the big San Diego Comic-Con the same weekend as this movie came out. So there was all these Instagrams about, oh, Robert Downey Jr. is coming back as Doctor Doom or whatever. And I saw that for a second. I'm like, God damn, where's that in the movie? Son of a bitch. And on, thank God it's not a part of the movie. But that I didn't get that majorly spoiled. I will say this: I remember the big sequel to the Avengers saga and all the two-parter where everybody came back from Thanos. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. I remember I was there with my wife coming out of the movie theater, and she had some kind of question about the movie. I think it was about something with the funeral scene, and I was quietly explaining to her some items with that as we're coming out. She goes, no, no, don't say anything right now. We're coming out of the theater. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's cool. We'll talk about it in the car. And I kid you not, we didn't even go 10 steps. And she said, as loudly as humanly possible, I can't believe I'm just dead. Now, I didn't see anybody coming into the theater, but we were maybe a good 6 steps away from the main entrance where people would be coming in. So I cannot say definingly that she did spoil it for somebody, but I'm not going to rule out that somebody overheard it and had to just say in the brain, maybe they're joking, maybe they're joking, maybe they're joking, maybe they're joking. Basically, anytime my wife is excited about seeing something, it's a guarantee she is going to spoil it for one of you if you do not see it. So if you know my wife, please stay away from her if you haven't seen something. She is a mega Star Wars fan, and I kid you not, there has been at least 4 conversations I've heard her with somebody where they had to basically take a deep breath and say, I have not gone to that episode yet. Like she spoiled Breaking Bad for somebody, the most beautiful ending television show of all time. So she has a she's like the Lou Gehrig of spoiling movies and all. It's a disease and we all need to cure it, and it's terrible. So keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But that we'll let that pass there. No, I mean I know I just came out with some exciting material here about lawn mowing and toilet handles and a movie that's been out for 2 weeks that you probably already seen. But I'd rather go to somebody that's a tad more influential than me. And I know it's hard to believe, but that's what we're doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we are talking with influencer Ian McAlister. Since he first began creating content in 2020, Ian has seen significant success, gaining over 1.6 million followers on TikTok and over 590,000 on Instagram. Through his Stay Toxic brand and humorous perspective on relationships and everyday life, his content has caught the imaginations of millions of viewers, like your boy here. So without further ado, let's get Ian McAlister on the line.
What's up, Scott? Can you hear me?
What's going on, Ian? How are you?
Hey, Ian.
Yeah, doing well.
I'm Mike. This is Scott. Welcome to the show. Where are we calling you from tonight, Ian?
Appreciate it. I'm in Cocoa Beach.
Nice, nice. Some good weather out there and all. We got a downpour down here and all. That's fine. That's fine. Ian, thank
Where
you. Well,
you guys at?
I am in Douglasville, Georgia, and Scott is up in Denville, New Jersey, the beautiful capitals of the world.
Very nice. Very nice.
Hey, so great having you on the show tonight. Ian, I gotta be honest with you. When I always like to try to do some research before the show with all of our new guests. There are a ton of Ian McAlisters out there. I gotta be honest with you. Like I got Ian McAlister, the Bear Rainforest Conservation. I got one that was worked for Amazon or it's somewhere in product management. Like are any of these you? I'm guessing no. We got the Stay Toxic guy, but did I hit on any mark so far?
Just the Stay Toxic guy. That's
Gotcha. Okay, my third question was, did you play Magneto in the X-Men movies?
I wish, but it was not me.
Oh, McKellar. Gotcha. Okay, I only have Deadpool questions after that, so sorry, man. Sorry. So thank you so much for giving some time on the show, man. Give us a little background to yourself, man. What gets you into the world? I know, did you fall into influencing, or was it just like a lifetime goal to just influence the world?
Yeah, I mean, outside of just like, being created by my parents, I entered this world and I said, how can I, make an impact? How can I be like, make a statement? And for me, I always kind of wanted to be a part of social media, to, I guess, own something, mine, be a name. And really my I guess claim to fame was showing toxicity and saying things that others maybe were not willing to say online. And I mean, ultimately, that's kind of how I got to where I am today. Long story short.
So when you started, what were the outlets of choice? Like, did we start in the Instagram world? Did we start in the Facebook world? Where was your entrance into this whole whack job community that we have out there?
That's a good name for it, whack job, because it's its own little world. I started on TikTok, really. So my whole social presence really started during COVID. So COVID hit, I was fully employed, and as soon as COVID or a lockdown came in, they said, "Hey, go home. You know, there's not much for you to do coming into the office. You can't come into the office." So I started looking at different things to do, and things was just the time, make some, in my own words, some stupid little TikTok videos. And next thing you know, they gained some traction, and I stuck with it. That's really how it started.
What was the original ones? Like, did you have the Stay Toxic brand like right off the bat, or is it something like, oh, I'm going to talk about skydiving, or I'm going to be a bird watcher, or something like that? Did you know right off the bat what you had?
I wish I was that cool, but no, I absolutely had no idea what I was doing. I I started just I looked at other like kids making TikToks, and I said, you know what, that's pretty easy. I can probably make that. And so then I would just kind of recreate something in my own way. And, half the time it wasn't as good as other people, but people still liked it. So that gave me enough feedback, enough buy-in, enough confidence to say, all right, you know what, let's keep finding more silly little videos to make, and let's just see where this thing goes.
So let me ask you, like, we're kind of like dinosaurs when it comes to like the podcast social media game. We've been doing this like Facebook and Twitter were kind of the big ones to try to get the cast out there and whatnot. When you're making content like this, are you looking for like, does it start with seeing like what's trending and what's like getting hits already and how you can kind of piggyback on it, or you start with like a clean slate, something completely original, and see what the best result is?
For me, it's changed over my time on TikTok, and it really just on social media. So, I mean, at this point, what COVID was 3-4 years ago.
Right.
So when I first started, it was just what's trendy, what's the hot thing to do. And at the time, it was, okay, this sound is very popular. It's trending right now. This is what other creators are doing. How do I hop on this trend?
Right.
So I'd say that's where it all started. But I'd say times have changed. And quite frankly, I'm not active on keeping up with trends at this point. But if you want to find your space, solidify your following on social media at this point, I think it's more about having finding that thing, whatever it is that you're confident in doing, and then just all in on it. You have people that are like cooking on TikTok or cooking on social media, double down on it, and they've been extremely successful. It's finding a way to make it your own now, not just copying what I do
now. So do you remember like the first one that kind of took off for you, like the first comment or TikTok that really it's like, oh, this is some traction, and maybe I can get some popularity out here, and maybe this is kind of what I'm meant to do?
Yeah, there was this one. It was way before the stage stuff, though. It was my very first, call it super viral video. I think it got 4 point or 5 point some million views. And it was something as silly as just pointing at characters that I had spelled out. And I had spelled out something along the lines of, I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was something about like single moms. Because I'll be honest, when I first started creating TikToks, it was all about just it was things that I'm maybe not super proud to post at this point.
I thought you were just going to be like, it's all about single moms. That's what it was all about for me.
There's a lot of thirst traps in the beginning.
At first, I talked about married families, wasn't going anywhere, but I'm like, wait a minute. There's another set.
I know my target market. Yeah, so that's how it started, really. But that my first video, it blew up, and I remember it was during the peak of COVID because I wasn't even home. I was in a different state at my friend's house. I filmed it in his house, and he's like, Ian, I'm never gonna let you forget this. Your first viral TikTok is because of me. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I was always interested in this. I don't know if you were able to do this, as sole income. I was checking out some of your stuff and you had some sponsorship and whatnot, but I always felt like the world of social media has to be like almost like living on the edge of a sword. Like it can just go away at any point. Like it just seems like you never know what's going to be big or if you're going to be forgotten by tomorrow. Is that kind of like maddening for you to like stay up on it? Does it become exhausting, like trying to create content, or are you able to do this just kind of solely for fun still and like take what you can get? Like, what is your mentality approaching that?
Yeah, so you asked me this earlier. Did I set out to do this for a reason? And part of it, yes, was a surprise, but I also did go at the idea and the purpose of creating a channel and a facade, ultimately to make income. And I looked at Dude Perfect, the Mr. Beast, the guys that are absolutely killing it on social media, and I saw how successful they've been. So that was my approach when I first started. Now that I'm, call it 3-4 years into doing this, I'll say that this is still just fun for me. Okay. There was a certain point where I said, all right, I would love for this to be my full time. And, to this day, I'd still love for it to be something full time. But the idea of, call it living on the edge, not knowing where the next paycheck, the next sponsorship, the next, deposit coming in, that's a little too nerve-wracking for me. Sure. So for me, this is truly just my side business, my fun gig, and the money's nice, but I do this more for kind of myself now versus just the paycheck.
Sure.
Now, as you're kind of doing this, I kind of wonder just where exactly do you like set up your like scheduling? Like as you say, this is like a fun side kind of thing, but like as you like get ready for another week, you're like, I got to get 3 videos out and this is my theme for this week? Or are you just literally like, okay, I'm home from work, let me put on the camera, I think I thought of something on the ride home, let's put it up?
I currently live it as a rip it and stick it type guy. So
nice.
There's a time when I said, okay, every morning at 8 a.m., I'm drinking my coffee. I might as well make a video while I'm drinking my coffee since I have my coffee mug. At this point, I'm more thinking, okay, I actually have an hour break here. Let's strategically think, do I want to post this now? Do I want to post this in 2 weeks? Do I want to create something now? If I create something, what type of content do I want to create now? So at this point, I feel like I'm getting a little bit more strategic versus in the past, it was, I'm gonna just post every day. I don't care how good the content is, but I just want to get content out.
Right. Now, are you planning, do you have things like in the works, or is it all just developing at, like you said, you like to just get it out there, but do you have things like laid out, like, okay, I got stuff on the horizon, I got bigger projects, or is it all just as it comes to you, you're just putting it up?
So, we're talking at a, what I'd call almost like a transition phase. When I say transition, I'm not transitioning away from toxic. That is not going anywhere. But I'm currently brainstorming with Samantha and a few other people about where do I want to take the channel next. So, if you looked at my channel at all, you've probably seen the amount of posts. It hasn't been quite as frequent lately. And that's due to the fact that I'm trying to think, is the spinning around in the chair and giving toxic advice the only thing that I want to continue to do?
Right.
Or do I want to branch out into something else?
Now, I know you also have a passion for supporting mental health challenges and items like that. Is that one goal that you're thinking about with the channel currently?
It's always top of mind, back in mind, and top of mind, I should say. We haven't touched on kind of how and why I created this account, but I'll say one of the things that really helped me through a tougher time in my life was actually realizing that I wasn't the only person that thought this way or felt this way. The channel really came about through for me, a really rough breakup. And that breakup led me to comedy, and comical relief is where I really found my escape. And when I saw other people laughing, commenting, liking, and relating to the comments that I posted, it made me feel better. So I'd say that is always going to be something that is on my mind. I don't really want anybody to ever look at my content and say, I can't relate to that. Or maybe it's, Ian's trying to say something that I don't necessarily believe. And that's not the goal here, or like isolate me into feeling like I'm on my own island. There's always going to be people that feel the same way about you. There's always going to be people that are going through things that you've been through. And I think that's a big part of my channel.
Now, like, as a stand-up comic, I am horrific at self-promotion, and I'm curious where it comes to like content creation. Like, is your love making the content, but how much has to be divided into, okay, now I have to figure out how to, push this out, and learning algorithms and learning, how to navigate through social media? Like, does that become more of the job than the actual content creation does?
That's
the part that drives me insane, like the navigating the social media aspect.
It's the most frustrating piece of that too, is that it's always changing.
Sure. Well, we always use the example of when we first started the podcast, we would throw things on like Twitter, and Mike would like hashtag things that we talked about in the episode, and we'd get like all these reactions and listens. And then like Twitter died. And then on Facebook, it was like, anytime you wanted any traction, you had to pay for it. Then Instagram was working really well, and then it started to drown. So it becomes almost frustrating. Like, okay, like this is getting annoying because we like this content, but how the hell do we get it to people without having to, pay through the nose for it?
So say it's been a lot of trial and error, and also necessarily collaboration in the sense that I'm doing videos with other creators, but it's been a lot of collaboration in the sense that I'm reaching out to other creators. I'm asking what's working for them. I'm observing how they're interacting with their fans, their followers, the people that are commenting on their content. Basically all of my content and all of everything that I've learned about social media has truly been through trial and error, and the original, how do I do this? How do I do that? I'm a firm believer in the idea that if somebody can do it, I can do it. So I just need to learn how they do it, and then just rinse and repeat.
Now, when you make a brand like Stay Toxic, I mean, somebody would hear it and initially think, oh, you're like shock jocking or something like that with your humor and relationships. But I kind of enjoyed, like, as I was looking at a few of them, like one of them I really liked was, ladies, the best revenge is getting a better looking dude with the same name. That was like one of my favorite ones looking you up, which is somewhat odd. It's like Scott somewhat had an experience like that on the same parallel of his ex left him for somebody who looked exactly like him.
Yes.
But
yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, as I read through that, and as you're like working with bigger brands like Keurig and Apple TV, like, do you go, here you go, this is some of my stuff? Do you like go into a room and like, let me explain to you what my product is? How do you like get in with these brands?
I've been really lucky up to this point. So I'd say basically every brand I've worked with has reached out to me in some form or fashion.
Hmm.
And has been really just through email or through a DM. So I still remember Apple TV brand came from somebody that I worked with previously in the past who represented Apple TV. So I didn't actually work with the people, but a lot of these, and this is something I've learned throughout this process because it's not like I can, it's not like I can just call up one of my friends and say, "Hey, Billy, have you ever, like, how did you work with a brand before? Or how did you do a social media post?" I don't have any friends that have done this, so I've really been in uncharted waters. And what I've learned is that most companies have other companies that represent themselves or represent the companies. And then you basically have to work through those channels. So you're working through a middleman, and that middleman is representing the company, and then they're also representing you if you're presenting yourself. Now I have Samantha and her team to represent me. So now it's a four-way communication. You have a middleman on my side and a middleman on the other company's side trying to negotiate for each party.
That's great and all, but more importantly, why would someone date someone that looked just like their ex-boyfriend? Like let's
It's a valid point.
like
It's a valid
wouldn't
point.
you want, after all those years with me, like want to change it up, do the complete opposite, like go with like a clean shaven black guy with glasses, like something completely opposite than me? Like doing this again is not a great idea.
I mean, she obviously had good taste.
Yeah.
She wasn't willing to sacrifice.
That is true. That is true.
She enjoyed the looks. The personality wasn't there, Scott.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
That's right. Well,
I've been telling you this for 10 years now.
Well, ironically, I won because she's dead. So,
Ooh.
Yeah, that should be your first TikTok.
I was about to say I might have to make one off that.
Now, as you're building this to Stay Toxic brand, I know you have a shop for it and everything. Like, what was like your first steps with this? Is it just as easy as I got the fans, they'll buy the shirts, or like, are you talking to designers? How did you say to yourself, this is what Stay Toxic looks like?
I'll tell you, that was actually probably the hardest piece of anything I've done. So that really came from I'd always wanted to do it, but I never even knew where to start. And quite frankly, I still don't know how well it's actually going. But I had a friend, he started his own t-shirt company, and he called me up one day while I was traveling. He said, "Ian, what would you think about selling merch?" I was like, "That's a great idea. I've always wanted to do it." Well, from there, that the idea actually coming to fruition was a lot more complicated than I anticipated, because creating merch is not just, all right, hey, why don't you print those and then we'll just sell them. No, there's fulfillment that goes into it. It's marketing that goes into it. You have state taxes, you have different states, you have shipping. There's a lot that goes into it. So how did I come up with the idea? Really, it started from me seeing other influencers selling it. But then I really needed a friend to say, "Ian, why the hell are you not doing this? You have a great opportunity and you're not doing it." I'm still working out some of the kinks, but the merch that I have available today, that's really still a first draft. We'll call it a first edition. I still have some things that I'm coming up with that will be, call it the second, third, fourth edition. But what I have today, I think, will always be known as the first edition of Stay Toxic.
That's great and all, but he had a red beard and looked exactly like me. What was going on here? No.
Yeah, Scott, I think you might need to spin around in a chair with a coffee mug.
Yeah. That's why
Or
I
a cup
talk.
of whiskey.
That's why I talk about this stuff on stage. So
Better yet, a cup of whiskey. That would be better.
Well, Ian, we had a lot of fun talking with you, learning about it. No, it's nice to see like you're really enjoying what you're doing. You're building your brand, but at the same time, you're very grounded and you enjoy what you do, but you're not overthinking what you have. So, as an influencer to our audience, kind of sell to them about your TikTok, about your Instagram, where they can go for your shop. Sell yourselves to our audience.
Sure. So if you aren't following Ian_McAlister, then you are missing out because, quite frankly, if you need some comical relief, if you need something to laugh at, if you're going to the bathroom and you just need to escape the world, then you can find my account and you're going to laugh your tits off. That I can promise. From a brand standpoint, for brands that are out there looking to get viewership, to get eyes on content, I think that's something that I've shown the ability to be able to get views. So feel free to reach out. Happy to work with you. Happy to talk to you. And then lastly, hey, we're here for a good time. We're here to make you laugh. So if anybody out there has recommendations, if you see something funny, please send it my way. I'd love to take a look at it.
you make a good point. I would love to know the statistics of social media consumed in the bathroom as opposed to any other room in the house. I would love to see the numbers on that because it's got to be through the roof.
Well, Scott, I'm not going to tell you how much time I spend on the toilet with my bathroom scrolling.
Yeah. We got to work with like Comcast where they put like a special antenna in all toilet areas so we can get these numbers. Maybe we're losing an audience by not knowing this stuff.
We should know these. These are important stats here.
Yeah. We got an election coming up. This is much more important. That stat right there.
It is. I want to know how many people are scrolling in the shower.
Oh, did Ian freeze? Oh,
he's back.
You got me? All right.
Yeah, you froze there.
All right. I want to know how many people are on their phone scrolling in the shower. That's the stat I want to know.
I haven't gotten there yet. Thank God. Like it is one of the small places I can disconnect,
Yeah, but you got to get that special loofah case with your cell phone. I'm not sure how much that can work. I mean, we'll try to sell it, but
yeah, just what everyone's been waiting for, the Mike Burlew live stream from the shower.
Scott, yeah, you want this podcast to take off? We got to take risks, okay? I'm sorry. We got to do what we got to do, and I got to get naked on the internet. I keep telling you that.
Oh, God. Stay toxic.
So, Michael's OnlyFans coming to you soon.
Yeah. Ian, thank you so much. Before you go, one final question, as you have many perspectives on relationships. Me and Scott have been doing this podcast for 11 years. Any stay toxic advice for grown middle-aged men doing podcasts in their mid to late 40s?
I mean, I'd say if you're not keeping it real, and if you're not telling them how it is, you gotta tell them what's on your mind.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can't hold it back. You have to be really honest.
Stop hitting my mute, Scott.
Yeah,
That's what I'm telling you. The world's got to know what I got to say. It don't make sense, but they got to hear it.
Yeah, we've been trying to dial Mike back for all these years. Now you're telling him to open up even more. It's not a good advice. Not a good advice at all.
I don't know, Mike. I like the energy. I think we need to hear exactly what you have to say.
There you go, Scott. I mean, and that's an influencer. He should be influencing you, Scott.
All right,
hear me out.
Tell us what you want to say naked in the shower and see how that does for you.
So. You just wait till next week, my friend. You just wait.
Ian, go ahead. Mike.
Thank you so much. Again, the brand is Stay Toxic. Check them out on Instagram, TikTok, and any social medias. Ian McAlister, thank you so much for your time on the podcast.
Thank you.
Ian McAlister, ladies and gentlemen, go check out his Stay Toxic brand. Check out his TikTok and Instagram, and let us know what you think of the interview here. Hopefully you didn't all hear my dog going nuts upstairs, but you know, at least somebody else than my voice is going on right here and all. But one other thing that happened to me last week is I did my first ever escape room. We had a team building event at my regular job. All the people in our department, there was like 5 people on our US team. We all went out to do an escape room. Now going into this, I was petrified I would be the world's worst assistant in this escape room. I literally had thoughts about, man, do I like Google how you get through escape rooms, finding clues and all that. I didn't want somebody to like just end up with, no, well, we would have figured it out if Burlew knew anything about math or something to that effect. So I was a little hoping that I could assist in the matters. But I'll tell you, the biggest escape room that I had to get out to start with was the parking lot, because we decided to schedule a escape room literally a block away from the Braves Stadium for a 7 o'clock game that night. So I left work at my lunchtime to get down there extra early and excited, and I was literally in 3 parking lots circling for, I would say, a good 10-15 minutes in total. I came out of a parking lot, I went to another one, and went off the road. I had to circle back to come back to the stadium. I got into another one, and I was going up and up. And like, we had to check in around like 2:45, and I was in my car at 2:40, and I almost failed the pre-escape room, if you will. It took me a good 20 minutes to finally find a parking spot and like sprint in to make sure we got in on time. Then on top of stuff, as we were waiting for our room to be completed, we started getting emails about issues at work. So there was this interesting spot of, are we allowed to go in and have fun, or can we bring our laptops into the escape room or something like that? There was a good little 10-minute scare where we're like, ooh, this might be something major that we couldn't even get into the room to start off our day before we got in. And luckily we had some other people to look into it. It was something we couldn't really touch, so we lucked out there. And so we finally got into the room, and it was a submarine themed room. I don't want to give out too many details because I don't know how uniform this escape room is in other places. So I'll just say, like, it was very decked out. We got let in. They played like a video to introduce it. They kind of emphasize you're not actually locked in this room. I'm sure somebody started panicking and started punching walls out of a panic attack to get out of the rooms, but they kind of emphasize, hey, you're not locked in, and no, by the way, don't destroy our room here. So, and then we got into the video of the theme, and we have to like go down to the submarine to this lab station and find the crew that's down there and bring them back. And the timer starts. We got an hour, and right off the bat, I'll tell you, I was pretty decent in helping out. I'll tell you, your boy can fix toilet handles and he can help out in the escape room and also. But ladies, I'm not single anymore. I'm happily married, so don't even think about it. So, like right off the bat, I'm like, oh, I see this on the side, and over here is where we get it, and that translates to a number, and we open locks, and we had something with like a mirror that we were trying to figure out. Eventually, I found out that you had to put your arm in a certain space and find it. So we were kind of gelling and all. So we were getting through. There's like 4 tasks to do in the room. 30 minutes in, we get the final clue. Door opens. We're like, man, we're good. We're amazing. That's great teamwork. This was a fun activity. It was really amazing, the effort and the teamwork that went into this. Screw that. Lo and behold, this room had a second room in it, and we were stuck in the second room doing new tasks in there. So we were running around, figuring out clues. We got to the point where we had to keep on hitting the hint button to start helping us out, seeing that the time was expiring. But once again, we were doing pretty well. There was a thing where you had to use a fishing pole to grab a key, and it was something where you had to really stretch out for it. So being the tall guy, I was able to help out and grab the keys in certain situations, and we figure out the clues, and we're like, thank God, whatever. I think there was like 4 minutes left. God dang it, it opened a third door. And there was a third clue. And this room had like fish in water containers. It involved the periodic table. It involved dates and jumper cables. We were panicking to try to get this done in 4 minutes. Truth be told, as I was looking for a clue, I accidentally stepped on the foot of one of my coworkers, and of course, it's the coworker that's 6 months pregnant that I stepped my foot on, and she's like, "Oh, so sorry," and I'm like, "Oh, no, it's my bad." But deep down, like, you should know, Burlew's trying to find clues. Don't get in my goddamn way. I don't care how pregnant you are. Okay, I don't. I mean, I don't tolerate people pregnant. I don't tolerate co-hosts going on family vacations. Let me tell you that. So, needless to say, unfortunately, 0 for 1 in escape rooms. We did confirm we were in the last room. We were on the last set of clues, but yeah, it was a moral victory, if you will, because I was able to help out. It's kind of like some guy coming up from AAA to help a baseball team and getting some key hits, but still losing at the end of the game. And all you showed your value, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. And hopefully, the next time when we do escape room and all, I'll up my game and all. Maybe I'll take control and be like, listen, I know how to take control of things and all, because I do solo podcasts on my own. I ain't able to handle this. I have the capabilities of doing this, and I mean, not audio wave files. I'll still have to figure that out tonight if this podcast goes out tonight. But if it's as easy as toilet handles, the Burles has got this, ladies and gentlemen. He really does. So, well, I think that's pretty much all I can think about talking to you people. I'm gonna save stuff for Scott. He's going to be back next week, and I want to thank Ian McAlister for joining us again. His brand, Stay Toxic. Go check that out. Things to promote. I am going to promote the Green Room. It is a bar, pizzeria, and music stage in Austell, Georgia. My wife has been performing there for 6 months. It's one of her favorite places to perform. We have been so thankful for the people over there. They've been helping Izzy out with her music. The staff is so nice. They really have some great food there, great pizza, great sandwiches. It's just very nice. They have tons of craft beer readily available for anybody. It's in Austell, Georgia. Check it out, the Green Room. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now your boy has to figure out how to put this up, and if he does, he's just going to sneak his own episodes up at any time. Anytime up at 2 a.m. fixing plumbing, I'll just head downstairs and crank out their podcast and put it out there. And hopefully Scott doesn't change the password. But I know you love what I got to say, so I know you won't allow him to do it and everything. So thank you everyone so much. Hopefully we'll have two people talking to each other next week. This is the Burls saying sayonara. Life is funny. Laugh at it. Keep the wind at your back. Bye-bye. Last word now.